You are listening to World of the 100 podcast, the one and only. Today we're talking about the show so far and the uproar it's recently caused. So, let's get started. Hey everybody, Megan Townsend here. Welcome to World of the 100 podcast. This is the first podcast I've ever made, so if you're listening, then thanks. Be warned now, this may contain spoilers, especially if you have not yet watched episode 307 of the 100. Now, let's get this thing rolling. I'm going to be talking about the 100 and the uproar it has recently caused because of the death of the beloved character Lexa, played by the extremely talented Alicia Dayton-Carey. Commander of the 12 clans killed by a stray bullet? I'm going to be talking to the amazing Vanarsdale, fan of the show, and talk about her opinions on what is currently happening. I will also get to talk to the awesome writer and language creator David J. Peterson, the man behind the Grounder language, True Gator slang. First things first, a brief summary of the show so far. The show is set 97 years after a devastating nuclear war wiped out almost every living thing on Earth. The only known survivors are the residents of the 12 space stations in Earth's orbit. These stations joined together in order to survive. They formed the Ark. After the Ark's life support systems start to fail and those in charge begin running out of options, 100 juvenile prisoners are declared expendable and sent to the surface to see if the Earth is once again habitable. Once they reach the surface, they discover not all of humanity was wiped out, and let's just say, these grounders, a group of fearsome warriors, don't take to them too kindly. On the ground, the delinquents will be tested by the Earth, the secrets it hides, and most importantly, themselves. In the second season, those remaining of the 100 are taken to Mount Weather, where they discover a community of survivors. It is then realised the medical staff in the mountain are extracting the bone marrow from the 100 and the captive grounders, so they will finally be able to survive in the outside world. Meanwhile, the inhabitants of the Ark have successfully crash-landed on Earth and begin an alliance with the Grounders to save their people. In the third season, an artificial intelligence named Ali, who was the one responsible for the nuclear apocalypse that devastated Earth 97 years before, has got a new secret agenda of her own. The Ark comes under new management when Pike, a former teacher and mentor, overthrows Kane as Chancellor and begins a war with the Grounders. This causes a controversy in the Grounder capital, with the commander of the 12 clans not wanting to go to war, which causes others to question her judgment and where her loyalties lie. That was incredibly long-winded, and so I apologise and hope you are still listening. Now it is time to introduce my first guest speaker, David J. Peterson, creator of the Grounder language. He is best known for creating the Dothraki and Valyrian languages for the HBO series Game of Thrones. So, how did you first get involved with the show?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question. I got a call in summer from one of the writers, I think, on the 100, Dorothy Fortenberry.
Yeah.
And you know, she talked to me about joining the show, which I thought was odd because, you know, it was second season.
Yeah.
And so, nevertheless, it seemed that somebody either on the show or at the network level was really keen on me joining the show in some capacity, and so I did. And then the discussion that became, or that came to be after that, was kind of how to fit me in, and that was really what it felt like. It felt like we were all brainstorming how I could work on the show.
Yeah.
Which was a unique experience for me. So, you know, I went back and watched all of season 1 of the 100, and for much of that first season, I thought, oh, okay, well, this is going to be great. I can fit right in. I mean, the 100, they capture Lincoln, and he's got a notebook, but there's no writing in it.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk at all. And then, though, he starts talking. Then we meet Anya, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a little difficult. But nevertheless, we kind of worked out what we ended up working out. You know, the warriors all speak English as kind of a defense mechanism.
So you kind of came up with the whole Grounder language.
Mm-hmm.
Did you base it on anything?
Well, yeah, English. That's what the grammar language is. It is English. Just like if you pick up a work by Shakespeare, and that's English, or if you pick up a work by Chaucer in Canterbury Tales,
Yeah.
that's English. And if you pick up Beowulf, that's also English. But you compare that to Harry Potter and the English in it, and you're seeing 4 very different varieties of English. The further you go back, the more incomprehensible it gets. And so this is just basically another link in that chain. Trig slang is just another version of English. Is related to all the other Englishes. It's just 150 or so years in the future. It's based more on colloquial English. So not the English that would be written in books today. Not even the English that we use in a situation like this. It's more the English that you use with your friends when you're hanging out.
Oh, see, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And there was a discussion at the very, very beginning. This was during the summer. The writers all knew what I was doing. They knew that this was essentially a future version of English, and that all of the words are coming from English.
Yeah.
And so then there was a question how to write it. And I said, I can write this using English words to the furthest extent possible. So every place where it's a full English word, I can just use the English word as it's spelled, and then just add embellishments when the sounds have changed.
Yeah.
I said I can do that, or I can come up with a different romanization system that's completely regular and that is just based on the pronunciation.
Yeah.
And I said I can see arguments for doing it either way, so I'm going to throw it to you guys. What do you think? And they decided to go with the regular romanization because it would make it feel more like a foreign language.
Did you have to go on set at any point to help the actors with the pronunciation of any of the language, or was that more given to them when they were reading up the script?
First of all, I would love to go to the set because I've never been to Vancouver. I hear it's cool.
Yeah.
But on the actual set itself, it looks very dirty. That's one thing I just imagine, like every single character in this show, I mean, they're actors, and they're really great. And I imagine them, getting showered and putting on nice clothes to go to the set, just so that when they can arrive, the makeup people can make it look like they haven't showered in over 3 months.
Yeah.
And blood streaked down them, and their hair is just a mess.
That's quite
And that's their life for a few months. So no, I've never been to the set, but I've actually worked with more actors on the 100 than I have any other show. I've worked with almost every actor that speaks Trigeta slang, but it was just either over the phone or over Skype. And the way it usually works is I end up working with them more at the beginning of the season, and then they kind of get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So then they just don't need help later on.
Have you had any funny experiences with people trying to pronounce certain words and them getting it completely wrong?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. With Marie, I think, was the most resistant to Trigeta slang. And I say just her first name because I don't want to mispronounce her last name. Avgaropoulos? But yeah, she it's funny, I don't think she was on board with it at the beginning. She just didn't get it at all. But she eventually got pretty good with it, actually.
Yeah.
This season I'm really pleased by her performance. And so for me, it's been fun looking at both the reactions of the cast and the writers. See what's see this thing written and pronounce it like it's some totally crazy foreign language.
Yeah.
And so you end up hearing them pronouncing these words, and it's like, if you know exactly which English word all these things come from, it's so bizarre. And you hear them pronouncing it like it's some crazy new word that they have no experience with, and it's so funny to me.
The language really is great. I think it's influenced the show quite a lot, and certainly all the fans of the show.
That's the other thing that's been a surprise to me. So, I've created a lot of languages for a lot of different TV shows. And, I mean, undoubtedly, the biggest and most popular show I've ever worked on is Game of Thrones. I mean, it's no competition. We know that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the languages I've created, far and away, Trigeda's slang is the most popular language.
Yeah.
Like, it leaves the Game of Thrones languages in the dust. And that has surprised me and kind of baffled me. It's like, take the audience of Game of Thrones and maybe 5% are really interested in the language, whereas you have the audience for the 100, and who knows, it's something like 60-70%.
Yeah.
And that's really like kind of blown me away. It's awesome.
Yeah. Do you feel that from being involved with the show, you yourself have developed a bigger fan base?
I would say definitely yes, especially on Tumblr. New followers saw that I worked on TV shows, so I would gain followers here and there. But really, by the tail end of season 2, once things started picking up for the 100, that was where it just shot up. Like, now I'm at 23,000 followers, and wow. I'd say most of my recent followers are fans of the 100.
Yeah.
And man, the community is so active there, and live tweeting is so fun. More fun than it's been like on any other show. I mean, my second to that would be Defiance, but it's like it gets nuts on Twitter when
really
the show is airing. even for the West Coast airing, which sometimes can be a bummer, for shows where it's like the East Coast airing is the big, prestige airing, and everybody's excited about that, and then you get on to watch it on the West Coast, and it's like kind of a ghost town. But no, it's just as active. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
That was the awesome David J. Peterson explaining how he came up with the Grounder language. And I gotta say, it made a whole lot of sense. The lead character of The 100, Clark, may just be the first bisexual to lead a show in the short 6-year history of the CW network. Although a lot of other shows produced by the network have other LGB characters, they are not all series regulars. Clark was confirmed as bisexual after the introduction of Commander Lexa when the two shared a kiss. Everyone's original reactions to the pairing was great, with everyone feeling that these characters, who both represented the LGBT community, with Clark being a bisexual and Lexa being a lesbian, was a really great thing to see, paired with the fact that they were both in big positions of power, with Clark taking control of the 100 and the Archers and Lexa as the commander of the 12 clans. People could see that the show was trying to push boundaries with what they were doing, not just with having LGBT characters, but with having POC characters in roles of power, which should already be completely a normal thing in media, as it is in reality, but it's something that is not normally represented. Even the actors and actresses on the show felt that the representation of the LGBT community was a great thing.
What I love about our show is that bisexuality is just normal. It's like with the apocalypse, suddenly, we had better things to care about than whether or not women should be with women or men should be with men or whatever, I really do support what the show's done for the BGLT community.
So it came as a big surprise when Lexa was killed in episode 307 by a stray bullet meant for Clark. There were many reasons why Lexa's death caused such an uproar. She was a young female character who represented part of the LGBT community, and many people admired her and found her to be an idol and someone they could look up to, especially others who were part of the LGBT community. A lot of people were angered by the fact that she had been killed off by a stray bullet and not leading her army into a great battle, feeling that it wasn't a great death that the character deserved if she had to die. So, it was one of the most intense and surprising moments the 100 has ever seen when beloved character Lexa was killed off after taking a stray bullet meant for Clark. Fans were outraged that one of their favourite openly gay characters on the show was killed off, especially when it occurred only a few minutes after herself and Clark were finally given the romantic closure that had been teased all season, which many people felt was queerbaiting on the writers' and producers' behalf. There were many reasons why Lexa's death caused such an uproar. She was a young female character who represented part of the LGBT community, and many people admired her and found her to be an idol and someone they could look up to. With the already slim representation of LGBT characters in mainstream media, the death of a prominent gay character is a bigger loss for people who don't have many other characters like them to turn to. Fans were also upset because Lexa's death falls into the outdated trope of having one character in an LGBT relationship killed off, therefore never allowing a happy ending for the couple that a heterosexual pair would normally enjoy. The trope commonly known as bury your gays has been in fiction for quite some time. For a lot of people, Lexa's death did cross the line and become another instance of that trope playing itself out. For many, it hurt the most because the show had been seen as a beacon of positive LGBT representation. Jason Rothenberg admits he was a little surprised by the outrage and hurt that came with Lexa's death. He said on Twitter, "I obviously didn't anticipate how deeply it would affect certain people, but he described it as the best choice, saying that Lexa's death serves a larger purpose to the reincarnation and Ali storyline." He said in an interview, "You can't tell a story about reincarnation, technological or otherwise, without the person dying first." A lot of people were angered by the fact that she'd been killed off by a stray bullet and not leading her army into a great battle, feeling that it was not the great death that the character deserved. These angered and disappointed reactions to her death are rooted in reality. The way a character leaves a show is important. Lexa wanted to stop war and bring peace to her people, which is a wonderful message to send all over the world. But now after her death, that message has changed. It is now saying that we must have war to finally have peace, which is, I believe, a completely wrong notion. Despite all of this, the great performances and the acting skills of both Eliza Taylor and Alicia Daven-Carey in Lexa's death scene were so amazing that it really did soften the blow of the character's death. I have the feeling that if the scene had been played out badly, the outrage of the audience would have been a whole lot worse. This all may seem like a really crappy thing, but some good has come out of it. Alicia Daven-Carey, the actress who plays Lexa, has gained a lot of recognition. She has become the centre of a social media storm surrounding her character's death, with her character becoming an icon for the LGBT community and a role model who encourages peace between the people. One of the best things to come from this is a fundraiser that the fans, who refer to themselves as Les Crew, have organised in defiance of Lexa's death. They have done it in the character's name and for the Trevor Project. Alicia, who hadn't heard about what the fans were doing, was told all about it in an interview with Ben Bateman for AfterBuzz TV. This is her reaction to the amazing news.
They wanted to make sure you're aware of the charity that's been raised in your name.
No.
The Trevor Project, over $46,000 in the last 2 weeks since your exit from the 100, just in your name.
Oh my God, wow.
It's amazing that you have the greatest fans in the world.
What does the charity support? I have no idea about this.
It's for LGBT teens in need. I think,
oh my God, that's
I think people, maybe
incredible.
more than teens, in need, and it's all because of your character Lexa.
Wow.
They wanted me to ask you if you were aware of really how much you meant to the LGBT community on that show.
I mean, not to that extent, no. Oh my gosh, what an incredible thing to find out. I think what's so important to note in that moment as well is that that's such a positive outcome for a traumatic event that people have experienced with the loss of that character. That's what's so important, to find like a social issue and to have momentum for it and to develop it in a really positive way, and that's so exciting. Oh my God, I'm so moved by that.
The Trevor Project, which was founded in 1998, provides crisis intervention and suicide prevention support for the LGBTQ youth and teens. The campaign is bringing more attention and support to the LGBTQ community, especially in media. Now, to introduce my second guest, the awesome Brie Vanarsdale.
Let's start with basic. Why do you like the show?
What do I like about the show?
Yeah.
Well, I started watching after I saw on my Tumblr the Clexa Kiss from season 2. I had heard about like the show before, but it was on my list, but I never really, gave it a shot until I saw that on my Tumblr, and then I was pretty much hooked, obviously. I really like sci-fi stuff in general, and so the LGBT representation kind of was like the icing on the cake and really what made me continue watching it. So,
who's your favorite character?
Yeah, it's Alexa for me.
Yeah, see, it's mine too.
Yeah, I would actually be willing to say she's my favorite character of any show of all time.
Literally same. So you're talking about the LGBT representation.
Yeah.
How, I don't know, the word annoyed are you that they've taken so much of it away?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's just so weird that Lexa's such a well-written character, and then to have her die in that way doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is how they were engaging with the fans and the queer baiting and all of that. I think I would still have a problem with the way that her character died anyway, but just to kind of bait fans in to get ratings and Twitter followers and all of that, I think that's what is the most frustrating part.
But like the response that everyone's had, like the Trevor Project raising that amount of money and all of this stuff, it just seems insane. Like, I
know, it's great. It's up to almost like 108,000 or something like that. Yeah.
I was just like, there are just so many people that the death of Lexa has affected, and I don't think anyone properly realised that until it actually happened, which I think is quite a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All of the actors, a lot of them have taken like what's happened in like different ways. Like some of them have kind of taken our side, like Lindsay Morgan has been fighting back against Jason, and then some of the others have it as well. And I think that's really important. Like they've connected with the fans of the show so much so that they feel the same way as we do. Do you find that's quite like an important thing?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime that I see or hear about an actor talking about the situation, I always wonder, how much do they feel that way? How much do they feel things that they can't really express?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just like a tricky thing to interpret. So it's really interesting and amazing. And like you said, Lindsay Morgan said the kind of stuff that she said. It's really interesting, the like kinds of subtle things that the actors are able to do and to say.
What do you think of the Ali storyline, the AI storyline?
I like it well enough. I get to see how it plays out. I don't agree with what Jason says in that in order for them to tell a story of technological reincarnation that she had to die.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with that. It just
flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks, or I don't know, you can like see so many fans like alternate ways of telling that story that were so better than what actually happened. It's hard to answer the question of whether or not I like the story. I like the idea behind it, but how they are bringing.
Before episode 7, obviously, everyone was saying, watch the show, we need to get the ratings up, everyone needs to watch it, otherwise we're not going to get a season 4. And then episode 7, a lot of people did stop watching it, and that must have made the rating go down like quite a bit, but we've still managed to get a season 4. I feel Jason was kind of like pushing it a bit, like saying, get the ratings higher, we need them higher, when in fact they were already high enough. Do you feel some of the times he has lied to us quite a bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think that Jason is just fame hungry, and especially like on Twitter and teasing. I'll let you guys see behind the scenes photos, if you get me to this many followers. And yeah, and so I think that he definitely kind of manipulated, particularly queer women,
Yeah.
I think. Like that picture, Eliza and Alicia choosing the candy and like that rainbow. Like it's just like he's so like blatant.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was the awesome Brie Vanarsdale. Go check her out on social media. She has some great things to say about the show. To look for representation in popular culture, find it, and then have that representation ripped away for reasons that are not justifiable is not fair to the people that do not identify with the mainstreams of media. Anyways, thanks to all those who have listened until the end and all those who have taken part in this podcast. Goodbye from me. Hope you have a good one.